You go. And protect everyone's time, as we got some people who couldn't make it, and I get it, that's 8 million committee meetings, you name it. I thought yesterday Erica was joining us for the school climb, we've got one, seems like every night, so I think everybody's at the meeting, point of the year, which I understand. What we expect, so we'll make this short and sweet, I believe. So, the reason I called everybody together again is once we kind of finished up through the negotiation process with EGA2, we had a few more adjustments to make on the calendar that we need to make sure everybody's in the loop with. And then my end game is to take this to the May 13th board meeting along with all of your agreements to get approved and then we'll move forward for the future. Does that sound good? So with that being said, if we take a look at the school calendar one, which is just a public school calendar on it, for our K-5 schools, we need to adjust 2 support Fridays, 2 parent-teacher conferences, one in the fall and one in the spring. So a couple of suggested dates were October 24th and March 20th. Do those dates look like ones that could work for those conferences?
Do we have any state tournaments going on in March? There's
No,
spring.
that's beginning, yeah, that's in the beginning. Usually it's like the 13th around is when spring sports start. So all the state tournaments will be wrapped up by then.
Okay, so we're adding one day there and October 24th.
We're taking, so that K-5 on the 24th instead of.
Oh, I'm looking at the wrong one.
Yeah, sorry, you're not, good order. Instead of the K-5 students coming in, that would be time that parents would come in to conference. And potentially March 20th as well. And then the 6-12 students would be in school. And then the K-5 teachers would have that.
So elementary kids wouldn't come to school that day?
No,
Wouldn't.
unless they were coming for the parent.
Okay, all right. Would that mean paras don't go that day or they do?
We typically
what-
during,
Support Fridays?
yeah, I would think so. I think you could still probably,
There's plenty of work.
you know what I mean?
Okay, yeah, well, right. Okay, so the paras would still go in.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, I think we would go. Yeah.
And then we were just talking about that, they've changed for only having the 2 meetings. And then doing that day on.
Right, the last day.
With
Yep.
Paris leader, that is what we were just.
Are they?
I don't think they're at the high school, are
I
they?
was gonna say, we probably follow what they're doing in middle school and high school, because they do.
Yeah, that was our question, yeah.
Okay, so probably not then.
Right. I know all
We would
the
definitely
answers.
match it, those are good questions. We'll
Yeah.
have to think about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cause I went, oh.
Yeah.
Okay, so just regular time, leave at 12:15.
So,
Okay.
yep.
So students did, accidentally show up, then, no.
Yeah, because that will happen.
Will happen. Yes.
And then maybe that's something we need to, like.
Yeah. And then on eliminating December 19th, just have it as a non-work day. So it'll be a non-school day, December 19th. So if that, it's gonna make a note. So then when I take these back, I'll have my secretary adjust of the agreed upon ones before it goes to the board for the calendar. So I'll circle these as yes. And then we would all know that December 19th is good to go with taking that out.
What was the reasoning behind that?
So that's when we navigated the negotiations there with HEA. So that was agreed upon in terms of numbers of supports and stuff. That was the one we felt like if there was one right before Christmas, that would be probably most advantageous to everyone to eliminate it down.
So that gives 6 support Fridays. First half of the year, 7. If you're secondary, or I guess 6, 12, 6 support the second half of the year.
Just make sure on the October 24th and the March 20th for paras still coming in, that would be required time and everything. Okay.
Yeah, I think if we're gonna have pairs come in, probably because when you think about it, they're gonna be matching, the pairs would be coming in on the others. right?
The high school.
So they become in high school, and middle school.
Oh, yes.
So I thought in an effort to
We don't
not
penalize
lose any money.
Yeah.
We probably should just do that.
Okay, no, that's perfect. Yep,
Okay.
perfect. Exactly. There is.
Yep.
There is.
Yep.
Coffees.
Okay, and then December 19th, we'll say yes to that then too, that adjustment.
So just a quick question. So on these days, the 24th, the parents and conferences and the 20th of March, will the principals kind of oversee like how many parents are actually coming in? If that's a hard time for parents to get off.
Yeah.
Just kind of.
Yeah, I know, we kind of navigated that. I mean, we'll see how this process goes.
Well, we talked about potentially, which the buildings haven't determined it yet, but maybe then we have the building parent teacher conferences that night from, your regular 3:30 to 6:30 time period, and then the next day during the day, and then that might accommodate more schedules. Because then there's a daytime and an evening for parents.
So Holly, you're saying for like in October, the 23rd, we would run our evening conferences? And then.
If buildings agree to it,
Okay.
because that's always been something that you just choose in your building. I mean, it means that all K-5 are doing it at the same time.
Even if it was that week, I think though, like you could even do.
Yeah.
Tuesday, Thursday.
Sure, because I mean, if that's cool, so you can create a little different one and then use that as the.
But it also gives parents the flexibility to be able to schedule each building.
Other parents
Yeah.
don't choose to do it. And that's why we didn't, I mean, it's not something that is negotiated what dates they are normally done,
Right.
Just thought maybe an evening one and then a daytime one, let's see if that helped.
Any questions on the regular calendar now? If everyone's good with this, we'll move forward, we'll make the adjustments, and we'll check that off then, it'll be good to go. Take a look at the colony calendar, and so with this, if you notice, some of like the sports and stuff are different, where they have like in January, where we would have, our schedule, we have sport, they have a full day there, and the reason being is that they have a different set of holidays that we're kind of trading out. And so when Holly and I went out there, and we visited with some of the colony leaders, they have specific dates that are kind of tied in. And so we just went back then and adjusted that, where then staff members that are out there will have those dates off. Some of are kind of strung along to extending holidays, like in April, right? So like our typical Easter holiday, if you're out of colonies, you have an extra day out there. So some are kind of dovetailed in with that. And then there's a couple in May, not sure, but those are holidays for the colonies. And so that's how that kind of landed out. And I think the only other adjustment was in Holly that we added in the 1st of May as an extra support in order to meet the time threshold. So because the days are a little shorter than what we do at our public schools, in order to get the number of required block time, right, minutes that we have to give kids, we had to add in an extra support because their days are a little bit shorter for students, right?
I guess it really doesn't affect me, but, the teachers that are going to the colonies, are they under the same contract as our teachers here? Do they have the same amount of work days and hours?
Well, they have the same number of hours.
Okay. So
Same
not
number of hours
necessarily
as we
days.
agreed upon in the CP.
Yeah, there's a new little caveat about offsite. Learning about, yeah.
Centers,
Right.
setting, not centers, in setting.
Yep, that is, yep, that's adding extra time so that they meet the same. So in act, yeah, when Holly and I did the math, we had to meet down to a matter of,
2 minutes.
yeah, exactly, yeah. So we really spent a lot of time penciling out a way to make it as equal as possible, in order to get that to be workable, for everyone, right? Because we'd like to see it obviously be successful. There's advantages certainly on being out there versus being in town. There's some disadvantages, right? There's trade-offs in everything. So, we'll see how this goes as we've kind of navigated this with the colonies. We said, I think it's in everyone's best interest to go through the process this year and see, hopefully, kind of, anytime you do something new, you're gonna go through the ups and downs, and hopefully we come to the best setting that works positive for the kids out there, and it's a good setting for teachers and our parents out there, so, hoping it's a good experience this next year.
When they have their instructional Fridays, would those be half days?
They're longer to account for the minutes because they're normal days are shorter.
8:30 to 2:30-ish. I mean, it's not quite that. We had a,
That's a shorter. Based on the German immersion school that we have beforehand.
I'm just wondering about questions for the teacher.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a little different from what we've heard in the different, ones I have visited with. The teachers that are out there really enjoy it. They enjoy the connections with kids, discipline is at a zero type situations. It's a very different feel for the educators that are out there. They seem to, those have been out there for Rocky Boy, love it. They seem to really enjoy the pace of the flow up there, so.
So are there purple days, their instructional Fridays, those would be full days for them on here? And for hours, I guess.
Yeah, that's why they're instructional. Yeah.
Right, yeah, I noticed the language
Versus
difference.
support.
Okay. All right, so then the blue ones are off.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Which is.
Okay.
and
That gives travel time.
Ish.
ish,
Ish.
gotta be an inch, yeah, because we had to. I don't remember the exact calculation, because we did it like
87 times. 87 times to get it right. But anyway, we're hoping that it's a positive experience for everyone. It works. Holly and I were just talking with Moses today on in vehicle situations, so we're allocating vehicles to be stored at the bus garage that they can, choose some areas to take and hop in, and then the colony will fuel them about there weekly for gas, and so. Yep. It's positive.
Yeah.
I got
I'll show you.
it.
Taking the word on it.
I don't think that's something good enough for me.
Any questions?
Just clarifications as I came in late, the 5th of June, on the regular calendar, K-5, do we show up that day as well, or is that still just middle school, high school?
Everybody would be there now.
Okay.
Well, all certified staff and all the administrators, because they're taking those 2 days that were 2 conference nights and bundling it together to be an after
That's what I thought.
school record keeping.
Yes. Yeah. Perfect. Thank you.
Perfect, everyone. Thank you, guys.